name shall not be remembered. So be glad and rejoice forever in what I make. For behold, I make Jerusalem rejoicing. For behold, I make Jerusalem for rejoicing, and her people for gladness.
All right. Shalom, everybody, and welcome. Oh, sorry. I thought I unmuted. Anyways, shalom and welcome, everybody. My apologies. I guess my mouse must have double-clicked. My bad. But shalom and welcome to our 9th midweek Midrash. We're continuing in our reading and study of the book of Enoch, and we're getting into the calendar section tonight. And yeah, no, my bad. But anyways, yeah, we're going to be getting into Enoch 72, and we're going to see how far we can go. It's the calendar section, so there's a lot to dive deep into here. And many of us know all about the calendar, so there's probably a lot we can all add. But good to see everybody here. So before I begin, actually, let me go ahead and say a prayer, and then we'll get right into it. And no worries, Jermaine. We just started. You're right on time. No worries, sister. Perfect timing, actually. Isn't it? It's like 9:30 in the morning there in Australia, right? If I remember correct. Yeah, boom. There we go. I remembered. Yay. But all right, let me go ahead and say a prayer, and then we'll get right into it. Father, Abba Yahuah, we come to you in prayer to ask for your guidance and your direction as we read and we study through your word. And please continue to guide this fellowship and be here for this fellowship. And, I wanted to thank you for this fellowship as well. We've become much closer than just some kind of online fellowship. We are all family here. And, without each and every one of you, we wouldn't be as far as we are. And especially when it comes to the truth of Yahuah. We all have a different piece of that puzzle. And we all need each other for that reason. And I just want to thank you for allowing us to come together, Father. It's such a barakoth, a blessing. And I wanted to say a prayer for those who are going through any kind of trials or tribulations or sicknesses, no matter what it is. Please put a hedge of protection around us and all of those struggling. Give them the strength to overcome and be able to endure to the end. And I pray to you in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And let it be so. All right, so we got Enoch 72. I'm going to be reading from Yah's scriptures this evening. And usually I read from the cross-reference one. but it's a lot easier to go through the chapters through Yah's Scriptures website than the other one. And plus, it's the set apart names. But there's a link in chat if you want to follow along, or if you would like to follow along in your own copy. And please, if you spot any differences, if you are reading along from a different copy, feel free to call it out. Be like, hey, this says something different. That's what it's all about, actually. And yeah, if anybody has questions or anything they would like to add as well, feel free to contribute 100%. I love each and every one of your inputs. So let's begin. So Enoch chapter 72, and this is the book of the course of the luminaries. So the book of the course of the lights of the Shamayim, the relations of each according to their classes, and their dominion and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the Kodesh messenger, who was with me, who is their guide, showed me. And he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is, how it is with regard to all the years of the world, and unto everlasting, until the new creation is accomplished, which endures until everlasting. So as we can see here, he's going to describe everything unto everlasting with regard to the sun, the moon, and the stars. And, this has been mentioned previously in previous chapters as well, where, Enoch is speaking how the sun, moon, and stars are going to be signs of the times and the seasons and the years forever, eternally, until the day of judgment. Then they will be renewed. But this is that second mention of it. So all those who go around saying, oh, we can't trust the sun, moon, and the stars. We got fake sun and moon and stars and, what have you. The list goes on. This shows that is an incorrect understanding to think that way. And, these luminaries, they are heavenly bodies. They are the angels in the Shamayim. Hasatan has no power or authority over anything in the Shamayim. He only has the authority over things of the earth as we are down here. So the sun, moon, and stars, they're above. He can do nothing with them. He can only twist, manipulate, and keep us from looking into them, which is, he does a really good job at that. But as we're going to be reading, the luminaries are there for a purpose and for Yahuah's purpose. And he's not going to let these things be hidden. And those with eyes to see and ears to hear are definitely going to understand. All right, verse 2. Oh, yeah, that as well, actually, Andrea. Yeah, the chemtrails and all these things that they do. They try to blot them out so we can't see them from down here, yes. The light pollution as well from the cities. There's so much light pollution here in Phoenix, like, you can only see a few stars. As soon as you get outside the city, though, it's gorgeous. And has dominion over the dust, exactly. Yeah, it is terrible. But let me continue. Verse 2 here. So, and this is the first law of the lights. The light, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the Shamayim, and it's going down in the western portals of the Shamayim. So we see, what is the first law? It's the sun that goes forth. It's not anything about the moon. It's the sun. And then I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun goes down and the moon rises and goes down in these portals, and the leaders of the stars and those who they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order, and also many windows to the right and to the left of these portals. And first there goes forth the great light named the sun. And we see there again, first there goes forth the great light named the sun. It's not the moon. There are some who try to use the book of Enoch to promote a moon calendar, but they leave out Enoch 72 completely usually. They only focus on 73, which is about the moon. And we're definitely going to be going over that. Well, the 6 portals don't line up with the days. The portals are actually for the months of the year, basically. There's 12 months of the year, so half on one side, half on the other. And I will definitely be lifting your dad and Evan up in prayers, sister. All right, verse 4. Oh, we just read that. Well, no, we didn't finish reading that. And first there goes forth the great light named the sun, and its circumference is like the circumference of the Shamayim, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. And the chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the Shamayim and returns through the north in order to reach the east. So it goes through the north after setting in the west, then it comes to reach the east. And Brother Angel, I hope you're in here. All right, you are. Got it. So this is the verse I brought up earlier. So we see it returns through the north to reach the east. And actually, Enoch 77 is going to get more into detail about that. And then it is so guided that he comes to that portal and shines in the face of the Shamayim. So we see this portal that's in the face of the heavens. Yeah, exactly. Jubilees 2:9, the great sign of the sun. That's what we follow. That's what's being spoken about here as well in the north. But we see, he goes in the north and he's shining in this portal in the face of heaven and going over the understanding of the importance of the north. We see where heaven is, and that's in the midst of the earth, which is Mount Zion, which is New Jerusalem, which is the Garden of Eden as well, right in the center of the earth, in the north. I'm not sure your question there, Sean. So the straight line shadow day is day 0. It's the divider day, the day out of time. The day after that is day 4 of the week, which is day 1 of the month. And so verse 6, and in this way he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the 4th. And in that 4th portal from which the sun rises is the first month, and there are 12 window openings from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. And so back here in verse 6, we see in this same way that he came to this portal in heaven and shined, he's coming into the great 4th portal, because this one is named. This one in heaven is just called the heavenly portal. No, actually, Sean, have you watched Marissa's presentation there? She goes through it pretty well. walking it through details. Awesome, Sister Jermaine. Looks beautiful there. Yeah, Sister Marissa has she has a lot of slides and everything. She goes into a lot of detail, a lot of evidence for that as well. It's really fascinating and very good information. Here, actually, let me get the link for that. Here, I'll share the link. So this is the whole playlist. Yeah, there you go, Natalie. Boom. Yeah, so that playlist will contain the videos, and it's only the presentation sections of our fellowships. So it's not like 4-hour videos, even though quite a few of those presentations are over 2 hours, but definitely worth it. Okay, where were we? Verse 8. And when the sun rises in the Shamayim, he comes forth through that fourth portal 30 mornings in succession, and then goes down exactly in the fourth portal in the west of the Shamayim. And during this period, the day becomes daily longer, and the night nightly shorter, to the 30th morning. So he's describing here the first month has 30 days. And on that day, the day is longer than the night by a 9th part. And the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. So we see by Enochian time, a day, like a 24-hour period as we know today, is actually divided into 18 parts of the day. And the sun rises from that fourth portal and goes down in the fourth and returns to the fifth portal of the east 30 mornings. And it rises and goes down into the fifth portal. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts. And the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts. And it returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal and rises and goes down in the sixth portal 31 mornings on account of its sign. So then we see month 1 and 2 are each 30 days. Then this third month is the 31st day. Just like what we see in the Dead Sea Scrolls, just like what's written on their calendar. Yeah, check out the videos, Brother Sean. And on that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night, and the day becomes 12 parts, and the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and enters the sixth portal and rises from it and goes down 30 mornings. Then when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part and becomes 11 parts and the night 7. I totally just read all that before, but it's all right. And the sun goes forth from that sixth portal in the west and goes to the east and rises in the fifth portal for 30 mornings and goes down in the west again in the fifth western portal. And on that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun goes down from that fifth portal and goes down in the fifth portal of the west and rises in the fourth portal for 31 mornings on account of its sign and goes down in the west. So then we see the pattern repeating, going back to that same amount of light and darkness. And again, we see the 30, 30, 31 count, which is the count to the next season. And then, so verse 20, on that day, the day is equal with the night, and the night amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And so this is going to be that day, that intercalary day before that autumnal equinox, because the same will happen again in the spring, which that's what we saw right there where the chapter started. Because that's where the week resets there, brother. So with the divider day, we have a new numbering of days right there for the next year coming up. All right. So verse 21. And the sun rises from that portal and goes down in the west, and returns to the east, and rises 30 mornings in the third portal, and goes down in the west in the third portal. Line upon line. That's what we've done to put the calendar together there, brother. So it on a PDF, that's really the only way to show the difference between the year ending and the year beginning. Otherwise, it would just line up with the day 4 at the top there. And that divider day is not actually day 4. It's just the day out of time, the day not counted. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Sumi. I'm not sure what you're getting at there, brother. I'm not sure how showing a separation in the last month of that, how the year ends and begins, is contradictory to what Yahuah is doing. It's a PDF. Were you here when Marissa was giving her presentation? Okay. Yeah, same as the months are separated, so are the years. Exactly. Just like we have that intercalary 31st day every third month. It's the same exact how we start the year as well. Yeah, that could be it. Okay. 10-4. We got it. We got it, I think. All right. So where were we? Here, I'll start at, we're continue here at verse 21. I think we're around there. Yeah. And the sun rises from that portal and goes down in the west, and returns to the east, and rises 30 mornings in the third portal, and goes down in the west in the third portal. And on that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and night becomes longer than the night, and day is shorter than day. Wait, am I reading that right? On that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and the night becomes longer than night. Maybe that's some kind of mistype or something. And the day shorter than day until the 30th morning. I think something got mixed up in the translation there, because it's supposed to be the day becomes longer than the night. Or sorry, this is in autumn, so it's the night becoming longer than the day. I think they got a couple words backwards there, but it's all good. Until the 30th morning, and the night amounts to exactly 10 parts, and the day to 8 parts. Thanks, Sumi. And the sun rises from that third portal and goes down in the third portal in the west and returns to the east for 30 mornings, rises in the second portal in the east, and in the same way goes down in the second portal in the west of the Shamayim. And on that day, the night amounts to 11 parts and the day to 7 parts. And the sun rises on that day from that second portal and goes down in the west in the second portal. It returns to the east into the first portal for 31 mornings and goes down in the first portal in the west of the Shamayim. And on that day, the night becomes longer and amounts to double of the day. And the night amounts to exactly 12 parts, and to the day, 6. And so this is talking about that winter solstice day, you know, the day that we just recently had as well. Yeah. Thank you, Sister Natalie. All right, verse 27. And the sun has traversed the divisions of its orbit and turns again on those divisions of its orbit and enters that portal 30 mornings and goes down in the west opposite to it. So we see it'll go to that winter solstice, and that's the very edge of its, they call it orbit, but its course. That's as far south as it's going to get, and then it starts coming back towards the north. And on that night, the night has decreased in length by a 9th part, and the night has become 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. And the sun has returned and entered into the second portal in the east, and returns on those, its divisions of its orbit for 30 mornings, rising and going down. And on that day, the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, and the day to 8. And on that day, the sun rises from that portal and goes down in the west, and returns to the east, and rises in the third portal for 31 mornings, and goes down in the west of the Shamayim. So there again, we see the 30, 30, 31 for each season, 4 times a year. And on that day, the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is exactly equal to the day, and the year is exactly to its days, 364. So like Sister Marissa was showing on her presentation from the north, from Yahuah's position, when it's that equal day and equal night, that's that 364th day of the year, or day 3 of the week. The next day is going to be the straight line shadow day. And then the length of the day and the end of the night, and the shortness of the day and of the night arise through the course of the sun, and they are separated. And so it comes that its course becomes daily longer, and its course nightly shorter. So it just continues into spring and then summer again. And it just continues like that perpetually. And this is the law in the course of the sun, and its return, as often as he returns, 60 times and rises, the great light, which is named the sun, forever and ever. And that, what do we see there? Forever and ever. Not until the little season, or not until the end days when they're going to put a fake sun up there. No, forever and ever. And that which rises is the great light, and it is so named according to its appearance, according as Yahuah has commanded. And it's the sun, it's the great light, the one that leads the days, the months, the seasons, the years. And that's according to Jubilees. It's according to Enoch here as well. As we see, it's the way back here in verse, which verse was it? Yeah, verse 4. First, there goes forth the great light named the sun, not the moon, not the stars. First is the sun. Okay, verse 37. As he rises, so he goes down and does not decrease, and does not rest, but runs day and night. And his light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards to the size, they are both equal. So here we see the sun and the moon are the same exact size. And we can see that with our own visible eyes. That's what we see. They are the same exact size. Before we move on to 73, does anybody have any questions or anything else they would like to add to that? If not, no worries. Because this is all stuff we have been studying out for quite some time now. Well, that's the whole thing is, so since we've known about, let me rephrase that. The Equilex we found out is not really a valid source. And since understanding the importance of the North, it changes everything about, how the years begin. Actually, I'll reply to the playlist. Where is it?
I feel like the Equilux was just is like y'all letting us know, get ready.
Yeah, because it does happen right before. But here, so that playlist I shared there is going to be all of our most recent calendar videos and explanations, walking it through scriptures and all of that. So we've come to understand that the North is actually very important, and this is where the years begin and end. This is where Mount Zion is, the Garden of Eden, New Jerusalem, all of these things. And the importance of the North is actually pretty vital for understanding. Yeah. So the 9 parts day, 9 parts night, that's going to be visible from the north, actually, where Mount Zion is, like from Yahuwah's position. And on the not last video, which one was it? Here, let me find it real quick for you. It's which one is it? I think it's the north. No. Maybe it's the same Shabbat day one. But it talks about that. Or Marissa talks about that, and here, give me 1 second. I'm sharing the video here. So viewed from the north, that equal day, equal night, the 9 parts day, 9 parts light, when you view it from the north, it's actually going to be exactly like that, because the sun will be like halfway up exactly on the horizon, and the day will be exactly equal with the night from the vantage point of the north. And because we see Enoch was taken to Yahuah's position, that's where he was writing all this down and describing all of this. So it would be from that vantage point right there in the north where Yahuah was. It's actually really fascinating. If Marissa was here now, she could probably go into those details. She knows more about that than I. Yeah, it's basically just from a position viewed at the north, where Mount Zion is. Okay. I see some typing going on. Yeah, different than the equinox. And yeah, quite a few of us have been dealing with that Jezebel, Leviathan, narcissistic ruach that is rampant in the body. 100%, sister. Yeah, it has been a while since you've been here, though. And shalom, Sister Talitha. At least you could listen in for a few. But yeah, we've dealt with that very same ruach here. That's why you probably notice since you've been here that one person is no longer here anymore. Oh, awesome. You saw my testimony. Yeah, so it's a rampant ruach in the body, unfortunately. And it seems to be affecting a lot of us all at the same time as well. Yep, and not just women either. Exactly. It's men and women, both. Yeah, it's important to see the red flags 100%, and just remember we're known by our fruits. Let's see, how long is 70? Oh yeah, 73 is not even that long. So this is going to speak about the moon here in 73. But let me go ahead and continue reading, and then as I see questions pop up, I will go ahead and do my best to answer them as well. All right, so Book of Enoch, chapter 73. And this is going to be all about the moon. And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller light, which is named the moon. And her circumference is like the circumference of the Shamayim. And her chariot on which she rides is driven by the wind. And light is given to her in a measure. And her rising and going down change every month. And her days are like the days of the sun. And when her light is uniform, it amounts to the 7th part of the light of the sun. So right off the bat, we see, how it is changing every single month. This is why, the moon is used as a witness, and it's not to a sliver moon or whatever phase it's in. It's whatever lunar station it's going to be in. It's not determined by its phase. It's the station behind it, the Mazarah sign behind it. And thus she rises, and her first phase in the east comes forth on the 30th morning. And on that day she becomes visible, and constitutes for you the first phase of the moon on the 30th day, together with the sun in the portal where the sun rises. And a lot of people will try to use this to say, look, see, when it first becomes visible, that sliver of the moon, that's what we're going to use to say it's the 30th day. No, that's not what is being explained here at all. And we have to remember, this is also speaking about the first month of the first year of creation itself as well.
Also, we need to be careful in the Sefer. I was given a Sefer years ago, and I used that for my Apocrypha for a long time. But there's actually a verse 5 on chapter 73, verse 5 in there that isn't found in any of the other translations. So if anybody's using that, just be aware.
Interesting.
Yeah, it says,
Yeah.
verse 5 says, and at that time it appears and becomes to you the beginning of the month, 30 days with the sun in the gate from which the sun goes forth, which is not in any, the other versions.
Yep, good old Dr. P. That's how he likes to change stuff. Yep.
I kind of quit using my Sefer, but I pulled it out when we were getting here because I just wanted to mention it, because if people use it and aren't aware of that, make sure you're checking all the different versions. There's a few things that he has different.
Yeah. No, there definitely is, especially the Book of Jubilees, because he twists it up to make it seem like Jubilee promotes following the moon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's going to have to take accountability for that, whether it's sooner or later.
Yeah, and I read this thing probably 100 times before I realized that wasn't in all the other versions. Because I read the other versions, but I didn't read them together, side by side. And yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
now we know.
Exactly. No, there's quite a bit changed up in the Sefer to fit his own ideologies. So yeah, just be very careful with that. Really the same with all scriptures, and that's why it's actually good to test them and compare. And it's definitely a lot easier when we got a lot of people together versus doing it on your own. Because yeah, something like that would be hard to catch. And yet Enoch's calendar, the Zadok calendar, is the wine. The Gregorian is water. Well, Gregorian is just confusion. Honestly, it is. Okay, where was I? Yeah, we read verse 4. Okay, verse 5. And the one half of her goes forth by a seventh part, and her whole circumference is empty, without light, with the exception of 1/7 part of it, the 14th part of her light. And when she receives 1/7 part of the half of her light amounts to 1/7 part and half thereof. And she goes down with the sun, and when the sun rises, the moon rises with him, and receives the half of 1 part of light. And in that night, the beginning of her morning, and the beginning of the lunar day, the moon goes down with the sun, and it's visible that night with the 14 parts and the half of 1 of them. So don't ask me to make a whole lot of sense of all of this. It's just basically he's describing the different phases of the moon that occur, and he's speaking about a lunar day, about the moon, a lunation. So this is not speaking that the moon is 4 days or months or anything like that. We don't see that at all here. And then verse 8. And she rises on that day with exactly a seventh part, and comes forth and recedes from the rising of the sun, and in her remaining days she becomes bright in the 13 parts. So again, it's describing the phases of the moon from when it has light to when it has no light, and then back again. Nowhere in here do we see that it's used for months or determining festivals or anything like that. Yeah, it waves back and forth like a man tossed about by the wind. That's true, actually. So there's a reason that he stated it's 364 days only, and that's because the course of the sun itself is 365, slightly more. And this is just the phases of the moon here, and when it first came forth, that's going to be its phases, and then we'll read later on that each year it falls behind 10 days. So then it's not always going to line up with like the 30th day of the first month, for example. It's going to be on a different phase the next year. Well, yeah, I'm not arguing that, brother. I would agree with that. Okay, so chapter 74. We'll see how far we get here. It's only 17 verses, so. And I saw another course, a law for her, how according to that law she performs her monthly revolution. And notice how Enoch is calling the sun he and the moon she. So what's the biblical order of things? It's the male that leads, and the woman is the supporter of that position. And that's what's going on with the sun and the moon as well. And this isn't speaking about monthly as in she's determining the months. This is just a lunar month, which we will further go on to read. Could be 28, 29, or even 30 days. It's like you said, waves back and forth, like waves of the sea. So verse 2. And all these Uriel, the Kodesh messenger, who is the leader of them all, showed to me, and their positions. And I wrote down their positions as he showed them to me. And I wrote down their months as they were, and the appearance of their lights, until 15 days were accomplished. In single seventh parts she accomplishes all her light in the east, and in single seventh parts accomplishes all her darkness in the west. And in certain months she alters her going down, and in certain months she pursues her own peculiar course. So we see the moon is not even a constant. Alters going down and pursues her own course. That's what it says here. This can't be a determining factor in a calendar, like something that's, waving, being tossed about, doing their own thing. No, it's the sun that we follow for all of these things. The moon is just a witness. And again, it's not about what phase of the moon. It's about which lunar station that the moon is going to be in, or the Mazarah sign behind it during these specific times. It's the moon, the sun, the third and fourth. She goes for 7 days and returns to the portal, and it recedes from the sun in 8 days. There's the sun goes. So we're just saying the moon does the same as the sun, but of course it travels a lot faster. So the sun and the moon both have, and you know, the big day take a whole year because the moon does it in less than a month. Goes forth from the fourth portal. She goes forth 7 days until she goes forth from the fifth and turns back again in 7 days into the fourth portal and accomplishes all her light. And she recedes and enters into the first portal in 8 days. And interesting, we see the 8 days mentioned a couple times here. Not many understand how important the great 8th day is, especially at the beginning and end of the year as well. All right, verse 8. And she returns again in 7 days into the fourth portal and goes forward. And that's their position, how the sun rose and the sun went down in days. And in 5 years, the sun of 3 days, which is one of 5 when full to 6 days. Access and stars to 6 days every year. Third, in the fall and the stars, now for 30 days. Which, you know, is enough. Saying, you know, in 5 years the moon could have days, but it doesn't match up with the rest of the math that Enoch does, which is why I believe there is a lot of tampering going on, specifically in these verses here. And we also have evidence of that because in Enoch 82, we see only half of the entire chapter is even there in our modern translations. And the remaining seasons actually exist in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And when we get to that, actually, I'm going to show that in the Dead Sea Scrolls, you know, that these missing chapters and verses. And then verse 12, a big one, and the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly, so that they do not advance or delay their position by a single day unto everlasting, but complete the years with perfect justice in 364 days. In a year, 1,002 days, 1,800 days. So that in 1,009 days, do 100 days that year period. And the moon is 1,060 days, and in 5 years behind 50 days. Sorry, 50 days behind. It doesn't that are above. This is evidence of Enoch because that's my thought on it. And to some, there is 5 to be added in 62 days. And in 5 years, there are 1,777 days. So that for the moon, the days, for the moon, the days 6. Interesting. Is that a typo? Sorry. For the moon, the days 6 in 8 years amount to 2,800 and 32 days. For in 8 years she falls behind the amount of 80 days. And see, this is proper because 10 days each year, so 8 years she would fall behind 80 days. And all the 17 days she falls behind in 8 years are 80. Interesting. I'm trying to make sense of that. Anyways, let me continue. And the years accurately completed in conformity with their world stations and the stations of the sun, which rise from the portal through which it rises and goes down in 30 days. So there again, we see the stations, the world stations, the lunar stations, and then we see it's the sun that is the main determining factor of all of this. Let's see. Yeah, 52 weeks of 7 days. That's what Jubilee says. Where is Marissa when you need her? She can definitely answer all those questions for you. I'm not sure why you didn't ask those when you were listening in when she was here, brother. But anyways, it's all good. Okay, so 75. Let's see, how long have we been here? Let's see, just over an hour, not too bad. Yeah, thank you, brother. No, all praise to the Most High Yahuah. It's definitely not easy, honestly. It's really not. Okay, so let's keep going. So we got Enoch chapter 75. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, correct, Natalie. We live 365.25 solar days each year. And that's accounted for in Enoch because he was taken above that. It's the atmospheric lensing is what it's called. So, like if you put a pencil in a glass of water, it's going to like bend that pencil more than it actually is and then magnify it as well. It's because the water is bending the light and magnifying it. Which is actually how we get the blendings as well, like the Boker and the Layla, or the mornings and the evenings. It's because that light is being bent by all the water in our atmosphere, or atmosplane, I should say. Okay, so Enoch chapter 75. Yes, atmosplane, 100%. They always put that sphere at the end of everything now to, get us to think we live on a spinning ball, and we definitely don't. Yeah, very, very, very sneaky. All right, so Enoch chapter 75. And the leaders of the heads of the thousands who were placed over the whole creation and over all the stars have also to do with the 4 intercalary days. So Really quick, we're going to be getting into the leaders of the stars, the leaders of the Mazzaroth, the ones that are going to show us these signs, also as a witness. So being inseparable from their office, according to the reckoning of the year. And these render service on the 4 days, which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year. So those 4 intercalary days, the 31st day every third month. But we see they are reckoned in the reckoning of the year, as we're going to read here. So it just depends on, like Daniel, in his counting of time, is because it's like a prophetic counting of time. So these aren't rendered in his counting, but they are rendered in the actual year. So, and owing to them, men go astray therein. For these lights truly render service on the world stations. Which ones? One in the first portal, one in the third portal of the Shamayim, one in the fourth portal, one in the sixth portal, and the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations. And there we see the 364 days, but he calls them stations. For the signs and the times and the years and the days, the messenger Uriel showed to me, who Yahuah of esteem has appointed forever over all the lights over the Shamayim. And in the Shamayim and in the world, that they should rule on the face of the Shamayim and be seen on the earth, and be leaders for the day and the night, the sun, moon, and stars, and all the ministering beings which make the revolution in all the chariots of the Shamayim. So we see all the luminaries are very important to the timing of the year. The sun, the moon, and the stars. Not just one, not just two, but all three. So in the same way, the 12 doors Uriel showed me open in circumference of the sun's chariot in the Shamayim, through which the rays of the sun break forth, and from them is warmth diffused over the earth, and when they are opened at their appointed times. The sidereal time is actual time, if you think about it. It's the astronomical time, what they claim. That's the man-made positions and points that they use to bring that confusion. And for the winds, the spirit of the dew, when they are opened, and standing open in the Shamayim at the ends. As for the 12 portals in the Shamayim at the ends of the earth, out of which go forth the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the work of the Shamayim in the east and the west. And again, we see the 12 portals. They translated the 12 doors up here, which door, portal, same word, actually. I find it interesting they translated it doors here and portals here. But anyways, it's that same word. But these 12 portals, aka for the 12 months. And yes, correct, Natalie. That's what we actually just read. These 6 days and 5 years. When you do the math there, you get 1.2 extra days. Yeah, I don't think Joshua's long day had any effect on the calendar. Neither did Hezekiah. Neither did Yahuah moving the sundial back for Hezekiah, because the sun never set that day. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is we see it here in Enoch as well. So, Enoch was before Joshua and Hezekiah. Yeah, there's a there's a lot of aspects really to the calendar. Well, that I would kind of disagree with there, Brother Sean, because we see there in Ezekiel, he's especially specifically 44. He appointed the sons of Zadok to keep track of the calendar, the Shabbats, the festivals. He ordained them himself.
So he could have prophesied it, but if he prophesied it, that would mean that it was 364, and he would say, in the days of Joshua or in the days of this, it will be added, but instead it was already there in Enoch. So if it was already in Enoch, then it would be 366.25 days a year.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. No, I believe the sons of Zadok were for everybody. They're the ones who kept the calendar 100%. Actually, after this, I will go ahead and read Ezekiel 44 because that's an important one for understanding. Okay, where was I here? So talking about, I'll just read starting from 6. And as for the 12 portals in the Shamayim at the ends of the earth, out of which go forth the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all work of the Shamayim in the east and the west. So there again we see the 3 witnesses, sun, moon, and stars. And there are many windows open to the left and right of them. One window at its appointed time produces warmth, and corresponding to the doors from which the stars come forth, according as he has commanded them, and wherein they are placed, corresponding to their number. And I saw chariots in the Shamayim, running in the world, and above those portals in which revolve the stars that never go down. And that's the stars that we see really around Polaris, what we call Polaris, that North Star. They don't actually really ever set. They're always there in the sky. And one is larger than all the rest, and it is that which makes its course through the entire world. And so one of the largest stars in the sky there is that's what that's speaking about. Let's see, 76. How long do we got here? 14 verses, not too bad. We're actually making pretty good time. All right, so chapter 76. And at the ends of the earth, I saw 12 portals open to all the quarters from which the wind goes forth and blows over the earth. And 3 of them are open on the face of the Shamayim, and 3 in the west, and 3 on the right of the Shamayim, and 3 on the left. And 3 first are those of the east, and 3 are of the north, and 3 after those on the left of the south, and 3 of the west. Through 4 of these come winds of barakah, or blessings and prosperity. And from those 8 come hurtful winds when they are sent, and they bring destruction on all the earth, and all the water upon it, and all who dwell upon it, and on all which are in the water and on the land. So we see the winds of destruction that come as well. Not only the winds that bring a barakah or a blessing, but the winds of destruction. And the first wind comes from those portals called the east wind. And it comes forth through that first portal, which is in the east, inclining towards the south. And from it comes forth desolation, drought, heat, and destruction. And through the second portal in the middle comes what is fitting. And from it there comes rain and fruitfulness and prosperity and dew. And through the third portal, which lies towards the north, come cold and drought. And we see the cold and the drought coming from the north. And after these come forth the south winds through the 3 portals. And through the first portal of them, inclining to the east, comes forth a hot wind. And through the middle portal next to it, there comes forth fragrant smells, and dew and rain, and prosperity and health. And through the third portal lying to the west comes forth dew and rain, locusts and desolation. And after these, the north winds from the 7th portal in the east come dew and rain, locusts and desolation. And look at that. So we see the 7th portal in the north. But wait, doesn't Enoch only describe 6? Yeah, because Enoch 72, that portal that it shines in the face of the heavens. Where's the face of the heavens? It's in the north. And we see the 7th portal in the north as well. And from that middle portal come in a direction, health and rain and dew and prosperity. And through the third portal in the west come cloud and frost, snow and rain, dew and locusts. And after these 4 are the west winds. Through the first portal adjoining to the north, come forth dew and frost and cold and snow and ice. There's a lot of dew coming from a lot of these different portals though as well. And from that middle portal come forth dew and rain, prosperity, and a barakah. And through the last portal, which adjoins to the south, comes forth drought and desolation and burning and destruction. And the 12 portals of the 4 quarters of the Shamayim are completed, and all their laws and all their plagues and all their goodness I have shown to you, my son Methuselah. So as we could see, Enoch is actually writing all this to his son Methuselah. And then here's where it's going to get into the different quarters of the earth, like a slice of pie. If you slice in 4 slices, yeah, I would agree, Sumi. They would have used this calendar from Adam. Yeah, the portals. Well, yeah, of course, of course, Joshua happened after Adam. Yeah, it wouldn't be the opposite way around. Otherwise, something would definitely be off. Let's see, how long have we've been on here? And only an hour, 18 minutes. Yeah, I don't believe the calendar has ever changed because we see it's being described to Enoch here. We still see these same things. Well, let's continue in 77. So, and the first quarter is called the East because it is the first and the second. The South because the Most High will descend there. And even there, in quite a special sense, will he who is Baruch forever descend. Very interesting. And the west quarter is named the diminished, because there all the lights of the Shamayim diminish and go down. Because it goes from the west, that's where everything sets in the west, then it goes through the north to reach the east. And the fourth quarter, named the north, is divided into 3 parts. And this is important because it's the only one we see that's actually divided. All the other ones are not. This is why the north is very important. So it's divided into 3 parts. The first of them is for the dwelling of men. The second contains seas of water in the abysses and forests and rivers, and darkness and clouds. And the third part contains the garden of righteousness. So where is it at? It's in this quarter of the north. That's exactly where the Garden of Eden is. That's exactly where Mount Zion is. That's exactly where New Jerusalem is as well. So, yeah, this is very important for understanding. This is where the garden is. All of the things I just mentioned. All right, so verse 4. Yeah, there we go. I was about to read verse 4 there too. Thanks for sharing, sister. And I saw 7 high mountains, higher than all the mountains which are on the earth. And from there comes forth frost, and days, seasons, and the years pass away. Why do they pass away? Because they're going through the north. They're setting in the west, going through the north where that year is passing away. Then it reaches the east where a new year begins. This north is divided into 3 different parts, as we can see. And the most important part is where the Garden of Righteousness is, the Garden of Eden. Yep, the divider day. There's Sister Marissa.
Shalom. I love that verse. Came in on the right one.
I know, right? Praise Yahuah.
Hallelujah.
And awesome, Talitha. Your dad and Evan made it home safely. Awesome. Good to know. Praise Yahuah. But yeah, Angel brother, I hope you're listening. This is the very important verses that we were speaking of earlier as well, brother. Especially verse 4, very significant. And then I saw 7 rivers on earth, larger than all the rivers. One of them coming from the west pours its waters into the great sea. And these are talking about the 7 rivers of Yahuah. And these 2 come from the north to the sea and pour their waters into the eastern sea in the east. So we see, again, even the rivers coming from the north. And the remaining 4 come forth on the side of the north to their own sea. 2 of them to the eastern sea, 2 into the great sea, and discharge themselves there. And some say, into the desert. So this is exactly what we see. Let's see, where's those maps again? right there in the north, we see that land that's split by these 4 rivers. That's exactly what Enoch is describing right here. And where is it at? On the sides of the north. Where's the map? Yeah. So especially on the that Mercator map, it shows it the closest, like the closest up, I should say. But all these maps, they will show right there in the center. Boom. Those 4 lands split by the 4 seas. And this is exactly what Enoch is describing here as well. And then he goes on to continue these 7 continents as well that we see in modern times. Granted, the water level is probably much higher now than it was back then, but still. So verse 8, so 7 great islands I saw in the sea and in the mainland, 2 in the mainland and 5 in the great sea. So we see Enoch is describing a lot of what we already know today and see today. But this isn't counting all the lands that they also have hidden from our maps. Which I believe is connected to the north 100%. And let's see, we got, so chapter 78 here. And then we might stop maybe at 79, because there's some things I want to go over in chapter 80 and especially in chapter 82. And I will save those for next week because that's the part, especially 82, where we find, half of the chapter is missing. Half of the chapter describing, fall and winter, and then the other leaders of the stars there as well, which is found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah, these chapters are big and have a lot of information. They really are. So yeah, we'll do 78 and 79, and then we'll probably end it there for this evening. Really good stuff, honestly. So, all right. So Enoch chapter 78. And the names of the sun are the following. The first is Araeus, and the second is Toma, which is interesting. And the moon has 4 names. The first is Asonia, the second Ebla, the third Benes, and the fourth is Array. Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts exactly, Marissa. The first and the second half of the year. And the moon has 4 for the 4 seasons of the year. Boom. Okay, so yes, absolutely. So these are the 2 great lights, and their circumference is like the circumference of the Shamayim, and the size of the circumference of both is alike. In the circumference of the sun, there are 7 portions of light, which are added to it more than the moon. And in definite measures, it is transferred till the 7th portion of the sun is exhausted. And they go down and enter the portals of the west, and make their revolution by the north, and come forth through the eastern portals on the face of the Shamayim. That's a really big one there too as well. 78:5. They make their revolution by the north. Then they come forth through the eastern portals. There again we see the north is very important. It's actually one I should add there. Boom. 2 dots, Sister Natalie. Yes, precisely. No, that's a really good one, actually. And it just backs up 72:4 as well. All right, so verse 6. And when the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the Shamayim. The light becomes full in her. On the 14th day, she accomplishes her light. And 15 parts of light are transferred to her until the 15th day. Her light is accomplished according to the sign of the year. And she becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by 14 parts. Yep, according to the sign of the year. What is that? The lunar stations. Yep. Not many understand this. And in her diminishing, she decreases on the first day to 14 parts of her light, on the second to the 13 parts of light, on the third to 12, on the fourth to 11, the fifth to 10, the sixth to 9, on the seventh to 8, on the 8th to 7th, on the 9th to 6, the 10th to 5, the 11th to 4, on the 12th to 3, on the 13th to 2, 14th to half of a 7th, and all her remaining light disappears wholly on the 15th. And again, this is just describing these different phases that the moon goes through, because yes, the moon goes through phases, of course, but these phases aren't determining factors or anything like that. And why is that? Well, because verse 9. And in certain months, the month has 29 days, and once 28. And this goes right along with what we read previously, that, the moon even follows her own course. Yeah, correct. Not the sign of the year. It's the stations, not the photo period. Or sorry, the sign of the year are the stations, not the photo period. And yeah, the photo period is the quote-unquote phases of the moon. And Uriel showed me another law. When light is transferred to the moon, and on which side it is transferred to her by the sun. So again, this is, people definitely get that confused. So this is going to show us, the moon is going to go through these phases, and its correlation to its position with the sun is going to determine that. So for example, when the moon is completely opposite or furthest away from the sun, it's going to be full. When it's closest to the sun, it's going to be completely dark. So as it runs its course, let's say it's closest to the sun in its course, completely dark. So as it runs its course, that side closest, so the side of the moon that's closest to the sun, that's where the sliver, or so what it's called, the sliver, is going to be first appearing from. Then it'll come all the way across the moon until it's directly across from the sun. It'll be full. Then it makes its course back around to the sun. That's where the other side of the moon is going to be closer to the sun, and that's why we see the light diminishing as it comes back around. I guess it's kind of hard to describe with words. I hope I'm describing it well. I know there's a video somewhere about that. Awesome, thank you. So during the period which the moon is growing in her light, she is transferring it to herself when opposite the sun. So during 14 days, her light is accomplished in the Shamayim. And when she is illuminated throughout, her light is accomplished in full in the Shamayim. So just what I was speaking about and describing there, it's when it's going to be furthest away from the sun, basically directly opposite of it. And on the first day she is called the new moon, for on that day light rises upon her. So I looked into this word new moon here. It's not new moon at all right there. It's actually Chodesh, interesting enough. But again, this is not describing a month of the year. This is just a lunation, a lunar month. So for on that day, the light rises upon her. So this is when its course brings her to the sun. There's no light, and then its course, she starts pulling away from the sun, and that's when the light starts coming upon her. And then she becomes full exactly on the day when the sun goes down in the west, and from the east rises at night. And the moon shines with the whole night through until the sun rises over against her, and the moon is seen over against the sun. And again, this is going to be, so the sun and the moon will be opposite of each other, exactly opposite. That's when you will see the moon rising, the sun setting, and the sun rising, the moon setting, so forth and so on. And again, this is going to depend on what year it is as well, because, you know, we've seen and just read this, that the moon falls 10 days behind the sun each year. So on the side where the light of the moon comes forth, there again she diminishes, all the light vanishes, and all the days of the month are at an end, and her circumference is empty and void of light. And 3 months she makes of 30 days, and at her time she makes 3 months of 29 days each. And when she is accomplished in her diminishing in the first period of time, and in the first portal for 177 days. And the time of her going out she appears for 3 months, 30 days each. And for 3 months she appears 29 days each. And at night she appears like a man for 29 days each time. And day by day she appears like the Shamayim, and there is none else in her save her light. And it's interesting how she appears like a man. And I wonder if that's where, you know, that term man in the moon comes from. I think we talked about this before, actually. I think it was when you were giving your presentation, Marissa.
Is it like a man or is it like man? Because you know how sometimes when you look up the Hebrew, the English will say a word that's not even there.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So it would make a lot of sense if it says just man. Like, that'd be cool. Somebody go check that out for me. Get back to me on that.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have to check out the original wordage there and see if it's like a man or like man. All right. So 79, let's see, it's not even that long. It's only 6 verses. So yeah, we're going to stop at 79 or after 79 here because, yeah, 80, 81, 82. That's going to be the last 3 chapters of the luminaries. And there's actually some important things I want to bring up via the Dead Sea Scrolls with those specific chapters, not verses. So Enoch 79, and now my son, I have shown you all matters, and the law of all the stars of the Shamayim is completed. And he showed me all the laws of these for every day, and for every season of bearing rule, and for every year, and for its going forth, and for the order prescribed to it every month and every week. And the diminishing of the moon which takes place in the 6th portal. For in this 6th portal her light is accomplished, And after that, there is the beginning of the diminishing, which takes place in the first portal in its season until 177 days are accomplished, reckoned according to weeks, 25 and 2 days. And she falls behind the sun in the order of the stars exactly 5 days in the course of one period. And when this takes place, which you see has been traversed. Is that worded strangely? And such is the picture and the sketch of every light, which Uriel, the chief messenger, who is their leader, showed to me. All praise to the Most High Yahuah. We need that scripture with the Hebrew. Wonder if the sun is a man appearing 30 days. So it's comparing the moon to appearing as a leader, the sun in those months, but isn't the leader. Yeah, interesting.
Sorry, I probably worded that poorly. Just to clarify, the sun appears as a man. So I'm wondering if it's just referring in that verse as we know the man, the sun, appears for 30 days. So it's just comparing it like the sun is appearing for 30 days like a man, the sun, but then it appears as the female for 29 days. So it's very mixed up.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's definitely strange and mixed up. Yeah, service unto man. Interesting. Yeah, no, next week we are going to have to dig into the Dead Sea Scrolls and show exactly what those say. But yeah, no, as we see reading through Enoch here, describing all the courses of all the luminaries and how all three witnesses are very important. Not just one, not just two, but all of them together. You know, there's too many out there that are following just the moon, or just the stars, or just the sun even. Or it's a combination of the sun and the moon, or the moon and the stars. You know, that we can't leave one of the three witnesses out. And there are far too many that are doing exactly that. They're just leaving out these important witnesses because they don't quite understand how it works. And no worries, Sister Sumi. Shalom. And we'll probably be ending it here in a few anyway. Showing the correlation between a man and a wife. The women have their monthly cycle, and men have a daily cycle. So maybe it's a picture of the struggle of the woman trying to stay under the headship, or just the natural flow of being a helpmeet to a man of Yahuah. You know, that correlates with a lot of things, especially that I've been studying out. Truly amazing, honestly. And that's exactly what I believe it is, though. You know, it's that biblical hierarchy, that biblical structure, scriptural structure of things. You know, it's the male that's the head that takes that leadership position, and then the moon is the supporting role, and the stars support both of them together. Just like the father, the mother, and then the children. Just like in Yosef's dream, actually. And that just reflects, really, the nature of Yahuah, because that's how he works. You know, it's our scriptural example of a family. It's a scriptural example of how Yahuah himself is. Soon we don't know what she's doing. No. No, that was Talitha that wrote that, actually. Unless you're talking about something else she wrote. Oh, got it. No worries, no worries. A great job anyway, Sumi. We appreciate you. You didn't write nothing, Sumi. That's why
I
we
heard you,
appreciate
Jeremy. I'm back.
Yeah, that's why we appreciate you. You didn't write nothing for once. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we love you, Sister Sumi. No worries. Where's Brandon at? He better be listening.
No, Brandon's watching TV, and I have to go watch TV with him now.
Well, y'all should be watching this on TV. I'm just kidding.
Well, I am.
We're
I am.
prepping.
Good night, you guys.
But yeah, so we see, you know, the importance of all the luminaries. You know, it was written down by Enoch himself. It was kept track of by the sons of Zadok, who were ordained by Yahuah himself to keep track of these things. We see it also confirmed and affirmed in the book of Jubilees. Just so many deep connections, and it all has to do with the calendar. And there's a lot of people, they try to use the book of Enoch to promote some kind of lunar Sabbath calendar and things like that. But as you can see, they have to leave a lot out to, you know, promote that point of view from the book of Enoch. But yeah, so I think for this evening we might end it there. And if nobody has any questions or anything they'd like to add. And so actually for our Shabbat fellowship, I was thinking we can start doing some Torah portions as well. I know a couple people have asked about it. And I think it might be a good idea, because it's always important to study out the Torah portions. And I haven't seen a lot of people connect Jubilees to the Torah portions, so I want to do that as well and study them out. We can listen to them or read. Actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of Almond House Fellowship. I've been listening to them for years, but they recently started doing a reading of just the Torah portions themselves without like the teaching. So I was thinking of maybe playing that so I don't have to do a constant like hours of talking, because it really wears on my voice. Yeah, it saves on my voice. So we can listen to the Torah portions, and then of course I'll bring all the verses up on screen and we can dig deeper into them individually as well. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, sister.
Hello. I was just gonna say, when we were doing My House Ministries calendar, their Zadok calendar, back before we stopped doing Saturday. So we do some Torah portions and then other scriptures as well. They go through Sirach and, different extra biblical books. Through their past years of calendars, they've got those extra books. I can't remember if we did Jubilees, but yeah, they added in those extra books into their portions, which was really good.
Awesome. Actually, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah. So, yeah, I will actually. So, tomorrow I'll go look where the Torah portions start and I'll share the verses. And until the Shabbat comes, if anybody finds any verses, you would like to add into that for our Shabbat study, it would be amazing. I'm specifically going to be looking through Jubilees to match it up. But yeah, if there's ones in Ezra's or any other books as well, that would definitely much be appreciated. But yeah, so I think we might end it there for this evening, Mishpacha. And as usual, amazing fellowship. Love all the input. I just love our fellowship, period, really, is what it is. And yeah, I appreciate all of you. 100%. We all need each other. Truly, we do. Yeah, so I allow you all have a very Baruch rest of your evenings or days. And I will schedule up the Shabbat meeting here for Sunday, same time. And yeah, I will also get some of those verses for the Torah portion readings. I think it will be really great to go over the Torah portions together here. Same bat time, same bat place. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you all for joining this evening. Much love to each and every one of you. And we will see you all here on Shabbat for our fellowship. Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Shalom, brother. And we will see you all soon.
Thank you very much, Jeremy.
All praise to the Most High Yahuah. Thank you. Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.